Imagine waking up one morning and realizing you don't have to chase money anymore because money is chasing you. That's the power of building assets. Real wealth isn't about working harder, it's about creating things that keep working for you, even while you sleep. This audiobook isn't about getting rich overnight. It's about building real, lasting wealth, the kind that gives you freedom, security, and peace of mind. You'll learn how to create assets that pay you forever and how to shift from earning with effort to earning with intelligence. So, if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, if you want to control your time instead of selling it, then stay with me till the end. You're about to learn how wealthy people think, build, and grow. And before we begin, make sure you subscribe to this channel because your journey to financial freedom starts right here. Chapter 1. The difference between working for money and making money work for you. Most people grow up learning only one thing about money: you have to work hard to earn it. You study, get a job, and spend your life working for a paycheck. That's the story society repeats over and over, but here's the truth that most people never realize: money can work harder than you ever can, and once you understand how to make that happen, your entire life changes. Working for money means trading your time for income. The moment you stop working, the money stops coming. That's how most people live, working 8 hours a day, 5 or 6 days a week, just to survive. They get paid only if they show up. But there's another group of people, the ones who seem to have freedom, who travel, who sleep peacefully, who aren't scared of losing their job. They're not working for money. They've made money work for them. To build wealth, you must first understand this difference deeply. Time is your most valuable asset, but it's also limited. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. You can't buy more time, but you can build systems that make money while you're not working. That's what assets do. Assets don't get tired. They don't take weekends off. They don't ask for raises. Once built, they keep paying you, sometimes for life. Think of it this way: when you have a job, you're someone's asset. Your work creates income for your employer. You're part of their system. But when you build your own assets, the system starts to work for you. You shift from being a worker to being an owner. That's the turning point between survival and freedom. The first step toward building assets is changing how you see money. Most people see money as something to spend. They earn it, use it, and wait for the next paycheck. Wealthy people see money as a tool, something that can be planted like a seed to grow into something bigger. Every dollar they earn has a job. It's either buying time, creating more income, or building something that lasts. Let's take an example. Imagine you earn $100. A regular person might spend it on new clothes or a nice meal. A person who understands assets might use that same $100 to start something small, maybe an online business, a book, or a stock investment. It may not make much at first, but over time it grows. That's how wealth begins, not from luck, but from the habit of planting instead of spending. The secret of the rich isn't that they work harder. In fact, they often work less physically. Their real work happens in their minds. They spend their time thinking, planning, creating systems, and studying how to grow their money. They build assets like businesses, real estate, intellectual property, and investments, things that keep paying them even when they rest. That's why wealth keeps growing for them, while others stay stuck working harder just to stay afloat. But building assets doesn't happen overnight. It begins with mindset. You must stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an owner. Every time you earn money, ask yourself, will this make me richer or poorer over time? Spending feels good for a moment, but investing changes your future. Each decision builds or destroys your future wealth. You don't need to be rich to start. You just need to start smart. Wealthy people weren't born rich. They were built rich through small daily choices. Maybe your first asset is a skill you're learning. Maybe it's a digital product you can sell online. Maybe it's a small investment or a side business. The point is to create something that grows without your constant presence. Assets are anything that brings money in. Liabilities are anything that takes money out. That's the simplest definition you'll ever need. If it costs you every month, it's a liability. If it pays you every month, it's an asset. A car that you drive every day and pay for. Liability, but a car you rent out to others? Asset. A house you live in? Liability. A house that earns rent? Asset. The difference is not the thing itself, it's how you use it. The reason most people stay broke is because they confuse the two. They think buying more stuff makes them successful, but it only traps them in debt. True wealth is quiet. It doesn't always look rich. Many millionaires don't wear flashy brands or post luxury trips. They're busy building, not showing. Their assets speak for them. To start building assets, you must value knowledge more than entertainment. Learn how money moves, learn how businesses grow, learn how to make decisions based on value, not emotion. The people who stay ahead are the ones who keep learning long after school ends. Education doesn't stop at graduation. That's where it really begins. Every book, every podcast, every skill you learn adds to your mental assets, the kind that no one can take away. It's also important to understand that building assets takes patience. In the beginning, it feels slow. You might not see big results right away. That's okay. Think of it like growing a tree. The seed doesn't turn into a forest in one night. It needs time, care, and consistency. The earlier you start, the sooner your tree starts giving shade. When you build assets, you create options. You don't have to fear losing a job or facing a crisis because your money is working quietly in the background. That freedom gives you control. Control over your time, your choices, your life. You no longer chase opportunities, they start finding you. That's what happens when you own things that produce value. Many people say, I don't have money to invest. But here's the truth. You don't need a lot of money to begin. You need creativity, consistency, and courage. The first asset you ever build is yourself. Your knowledge, your habits, your discipline, those are assets too. Before you build money-making systems, build a money-making mindset. The stronger your mind, the stronger your future. When you focus on growth, not greed, wealth starts coming naturally. You begin to notice chances others miss. You start saving differently. You start thinking long-term. The idea is simple. Don't just earn and spend, earn and build. Every paycheck should do two things. Take care of your needs and create something that will pay you later. Imagine a future where your money is working for you every day. Rent comes in, dividends come in, business income comes in. You wake up not thinking, how do I earn today, but what do I create next? That's financial freedom, not having more money, but having more control. You also learn to respect your time. When you build assets, you realize that time wasted is opportunity lost. You stop trading your hours for things that don't grow. You start protecting your energy and using it to build something lasting. You begin to think like an investor in every area of life, not just money but relationships, habits, and health. Building assets isn't about greed, it's about responsibility. When you build something that pays you forever, you're creating stability, not just for yourself, but for the people you love. You're building a foundation that can survive hard times. That's the real reason to build wealth, not to show off, but to stay free and secure. Think about the people you admire, business leaders, investors, creators. They didn't get rich by chance. They got rich by building. They made decisions today that their future selves thank them for. They understood that every dollar has a destiny. You can either spend it once or make it work forever. The choice is yours. When you look at your life from now on, start identifying what you can turn into an asset. Can your skill become a service? Can your hobby become a product? Can your knowledge become a course? Can your money create more income? Every yes is a seed planted for your future. And here's something powerful. When you start building assets, you automatically stop comparing yourself to others. You stop worrying about who has what, because you're focused on your own foundation. That's where true confidence comes from knowing you're building something that lasts. There's a deep peace in knowing that even if you rest, your assets don't. They keep moving, producing, paying. That's why rich people sleep well, not because they have more money, but because their money keeps working. And you can do the same, no matter where you start. The moment you decide to stop living just for paychecks and start building for freedom, everything changes. You start seeing time, money, and effort differently. You start living for creation, not consumption. You stop surviving and start building. And one day, you'll look back and realize you're no longer working for money. Your money is working for you. That's when you'll understand what true wealth really means, not just having more but needing less. Not just earning income, but building independence, not just chasing success, but designing a life that pays you forever. Chapter 2. What makes an asset powerful? An asset is not just something you own. It's something that works for you. It's a living system that produces value even when you're not there. Most people think an asset is money sitting in a bank or property that looks fancy, but true assets go beyond that. A powerful asset is anything that creates consistent income, builds stability, and gives you freedom. It's something that grows quietly while you sleep. The reason most people struggle financially is because they don't understand the nature of assets. They think owning things means having wealth. But ownership alone doesn't create income. Use does. A car sitting in a garage is just a cost, but a car that earns money through rides, deliveries or rentals becomes an asset. It's not what you own, it's what your ownership produces. The power of an asset lies in its ability to multiply value. Think of it like a tree. You plant one seed and it grows into something that keeps giving shade, fruit, and more seeds. Every strong asset works the same way. It doesn't just give you something once, it keeps giving. That's why the rich focus on building and growing assets, not on collecting possessions. Powerful assets don't just earn money, they also buy you time. They remove you from the endless cycle of working just to survive. When your assets start paying for your lifestyle, your time becomes your own. You can use it to think, create, or rest. That's when life begins to feel free. That's why building assets is not about greed, it's about control. It's about designing a life that gives you choices. To understand what makes an asset powerful, you must first see what makes one weak. A weak asset depends too much on your daily effort. If it stops working the moment you stop showing up, it's not truly an asset, it's a job in disguise. Real assets don't need your constant presence. They can grow and function without you. They have systems, processes, or value built into them. That's what makes them strong. The first quality of a powerful asset is sustainability. It doesn't fade quickly. It's built on something real, skills, systems, or demand that lasts. A trending business idea might make quick cash, but it's not always sustainable. A powerful asset continues producing value long after the excitement fades. It can survive ups and downs, adapt to changes, and still pay you. The second quality is scalability. A powerful asset can grow without needing more of your time. If you have to double your hours to double your income, you're not scaling, you're just stretching yourself thin. But if your asset grows while your effort stays the same, that's scalability. Think about an online course, a book, or a rental property. Once created, they keep earning. The effort is front-loaded, but the reward keeps flowing. The third quality is stability. Powerful assets protect you from uncertainty. When one income source slows down, your assets keep you safe. They act like safety nets. They help you stay calm in tough times because you know you're not dependent on one paycheck. That's why the rich always build multiple streams of income. Each asset adds another layer of protection. The fourth quality is growth potential. A good asset doesn't stay the same. It evolves. It grows through reinvestment, improvement, and time. Money kept in a jar doesn't grow, but money invested wisely multiplies. A skill practiced over time becomes mastery. A business refined over years becomes an empire. Growth makes an asset truly powerful because it turns small beginnings into massive results. But there's one more thing that makes an asset truly powerful, and that's the mindset behind it. A person with a strong financial mindset can turn almost anything into an asset. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. They understand that every problem hides potential. A person with the wrong mindset, on the other hand, can turn assets into liabilities by mismanaging or misunderstanding them. That's why financial education is just as important as financial action. The richest people in the world didn't start with the most money. They started with the right mindset. They learned how to identify opportunities, how to manage risks, and how to let time do the heavy lifting. That's how they turned small investments into massive fortunes. They didn't get lucky. They got smart. They studied, they observed, and they built with patience. Another key factor that makes an asset powerful is automation. The more your asset runs on systems instead of your effort, the more valuable it becomes. Imagine you own a business that can run even when you're not there. That's freedom. Or imagine you invest in something that pays you monthly without needing your attention. That's automation at work. The goal is to make money flow automatically, not manually. Let's look at a simple example. Think about someone who writes a book. It takes months to write, maybe even a year. But once it's done, that book becomes a digital asset. It can sell every day for years with no extra effort. That's leverage. One-time work that pays forever. The same applies to an online course, a piece of music, a mobile app, or even a social media channel that earns through ads. All of these are assets that live on their own. Powerful assets are built, not bought. Anyone can buy something, but not everyone can build something that lasts. Building requires patience, discipline, and creativity. It's about putting effort into something now that pays you later. Most people don't want to wait. They want quick rewards. But true wealth builders think long-term. They don't ask, what can I get today? They ask, what will this give me every day for the next 10 years? This is why delayed gratification is one of the most important habits of wealthy people. They're willing to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. They skip unnecessary spending to invest in things that will pay them later. They don't chase trends. They build foundations. Their focus is not on what looks rich, but on what grows rich. A powerful asset also creates value for others. That's the secret most people overlook. The more value your asset creates for people, the more income it brings back to you. If you help others solve problems, save time, or improve their lives, your asset will never stop paying you. That's why business owners, creators, and investors focus on serving people. Their income is simply the reward for their impact. You don't have to start big. In fact, most great assets begin small. A simple idea, a single property, a basic product, or a small investment. What matters is that it starts. Every empire begins with one step. The first product you create might not change your life, but it will teach you something priceless: how to build, how to improve, and how to keep going. Every asset you build also teaches you discipline. It teaches you to manage your time, your emotions, and your expectations. Sometimes it will fail, sometimes it won't pay right away, but even those moments are assets in disguise. They give you experience. They make you wiser. Every lesson you learn adds value to your next decision. Over time, your ability to build stronger assets improves naturally. Powerful assets don't happen by accident. They happen through strategy. You must plan your steps and understand the landscape. What are your strengths? What do you know that others don't? What problems can you solve? What resources do you already have? The answers to these questions become the foundation of your first asset. You don't need to copy anyone else's path. You just need to use what's already in your hands. The greatest part about assets is that they create freedom not just for you, but for generations after you. When you build something that continues to produce value, you're not just building wealth, you're building legacy. You're giving your children a head start. You're leaving behind something that keeps giving long after you're gone. That's what real wealth means. Think about the difference between someone who works for 40 years and retires with savings, and someone who builds assets for 10 years and retires with income. The first person's money eventually runs out. The second person's income keeps coming. That's why the second person is truly free. They've built a system that outlives their effort. When you start building assets, you start thinking differently about everything. You begin to see potential where others see problems. You stop wasting time on things that don't grow. You invest in knowledge, relationships, and skills that make your life richer. You realize that your future is not built by luck, it's built by design. Every powerful asset begins with one decision: to stop being a consumer and start being a creator. When you make that decision, the world opens up in ways you never imagined. Opportunities start appearing everywhere. Because now you're not just working, you're building. And one day, the money you earn will no longer depend on your time. It will come from what you've created, from what you've built, and from what you've left behind. That's the power of an asset, to keep paying you forever. Chapter 3: The Foundation of Wealth. Your mindset. Before you can build any kind of wealth, you have to build the mindset that supports it. Your thoughts about money shape how you earn it, spend it, and grow it. Most people don't fail because they lack money. They fail because they lack the mindset to keep money once they have it. The foundation of every strong asset is not money or luck. It's mindset. We live in a world where people are taught how to make money, but not how to think about it. They learn how to earn a paycheck, but not how to use that paycheck wisely. They're told to save, but not to invest. They're told to work hard, but not to build. The result is that millions of people work all their lives, but their money never works for them. The rich and poor both live in the same world, but they think completely differently about money. That difference in thinking creates the difference in results. If you give 100 people the same amount of money, only a few will grow it. The rest will lose it or spend it all. Why? Because wealth is not about how much you get. It's about what you do with it. A rich mindset sees money as a seed. A poor mindset sees it as something to consume. A rich mindset says, "How can I use this to grow more?" A poor mindset says, "What can I buy with this?" One creates assets, the other creates expenses. The truth is, the world doesn't reward hard work alone. It rewards smart work, creative thinking, and long-term vision. Many people work harder than millionaires, but they stay broke because they're working on the wrong things. They're building someone else's dream instead of their own. A wealthy mindset understands leverage, how to use time, knowledge, and systems to multiply results. That's what separates the builders from the followers. Changing your money mindset starts with awareness. You have to look at your beliefs about money and ask where they came from. Did you grow up hearing that money is hard to get? That rich people are greedy? That saving is safer than investing? These beliefs shape your actions, often without you realizing it. The people who become wealthy are the ones who challenge those beliefs. They replace fear with understanding. They stop seeing money as a mystery and start seeing it as a skill. Wealthy people think of money like energy. It flows where it's respected, used wisely, and given purpose. If you don't manage it, it disappears. If you use it well, it grows. That's why financial literacy is power. The more you understand how money moves, the easier it becomes to make it work for you. The people who stay broke are often not lazy. They're just uninformed. They play the money game without knowing the rules. Building assets begins in the mind. You have to stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like an owner. Workers trade time for pay. Owners build systems that trade value for income. The shift happens the day you realize your time is limited, but your ideas are not. A job can pay you for a week, an asset can pay you for life. Once your mind accepts that, you stop chasing small paychecks and start building permanent freedom. A wealthy mindset also knows how to delay gratification. This means giving up small pleasures today for bigger rewards tomorrow. It's not easy. The world encourages instant pleasure, new phones, clothes, vacations, everything now. But every time you give in to that, you trade your future for a moment of comfort. Wealthy people don't live like that. They know that freedom later is worth more than luxury now. They make choices their future selves will thank them for. Patience is one of the strongest signs of a wealthy mindset. Money grows slowly at first, then suddenly. That's how compounding works. Small steps repeated over time become massive results. But most people quit before the reward appears. They plant seeds, but never water them long enough. The rich keep watering, knowing the harvest always comes. If you can stay consistent when others get impatient, you'll build wealth most people never touch. Another key part of the wealth mindset is seeing problems as opportunities. Poor thinkers see problems and stop. Rich thinkers see problems and start. Every business, every investment, every great idea began as a solution to a problem. When you learn to look at challenges creatively, you find doors where others see walls. That's what builders do. They create value by solving real needs. The more people you help, the richer you become. Not just financially, but mentally. Your environment also shapes your mindset. If you spend time around people who complain about money, you'll start thinking like them. If you surround yourself with people who build, learn, and invest, your mind expands. Wealth grows where energy is focused. That's why rich people often spend time with other builders, because ideas grow in the right company. If you want to change your financial life, start by changing the conversations you have every day. The wealth mindset also knows how to manage emotions. Money is emotional. It can bring fear, excitement, or pressure. People who let emotions control their money decisions often lose. They buy when they feel greedy and sell when they feel scared. The wealthy learn to stay calm. They understand cycles. They don't chase quick highs or panic during lows. They think long-term. This emotional balance keeps them steady while others are reacting. A rich mindset also focuses on learning more than earning. The more you know, the more valuable you become. Each skill you learn adds another stream of potential income. Learning how to sell, communicate, or manage time. These are invisible assets that create visible results. Poor thinkers stop learning when school ends. Rich thinkers treat every day like school. They study books, people, markets, and mistakes. They turn knowledge into opportunity. Building wealth requires self-discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's saving when you want to spend. It's learning when you'd rather scroll. It's building when you could rest. Discipline separates dreamers from doers. Every person who became financially free had to practice discipline long before they saw results. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. Another mindset shift is understanding that failure is part of success. Most people fear failure so much that they never take action. But every successful person has failed more times than they can count. They don't see failure as the end. They see it as feedback. Each mistake teaches a lesson that makes the next try smarter. You can't build wealth without making mistakes. But if you learn from them, every mistake becomes an investment in your growth. The wealthy mindset is also deeply grateful. Gratitude keeps you calm and focused. When you appreciate what you already have, you stop making desperate decisions. You build from a place of peace, not panic. Gratitude attracts abundance because it keeps your mind open to opportunity. When you believe you already have enough, you stop chasing and start creating. Wealthy people also understand that true wealth includes health, peace, and relationships. Money alone doesn't create happiness. It simply amplifies who you already are. That's why building assets should never come at the cost of your well-being. The goal is balance, to have freedom without losing joy. A healthy mind and body are the strongest assets you can ever own. Changing your mindset doesn't happen in a day. It's built slowly through daily habits and thoughts. You train your mind the same way you train your body, with repetition and effort. Read, listen, learn, and reflect. Every day you do that, your mental wealth grows, and as your mindset grows, your external wealth follows naturally. Soon, you'll begin to notice how different your decisions become. You'll stop buying things to impress others. You'll start investing in things that build your future. You'll stop wasting time on distractions and focus on creation. You'll start thinking in decades, not days. That's when you'll know your mindset has shifted, when your actions start matching your vision. Wealth begins in the mind, but shows up in life. Once you master how you think, you can build anything. Assets, freedom, legacy, they all start with one powerful change, believing that you can create them. That belief is the real foundation of wealth. Chapter 4. Understanding the types of assets. When people hear the word assets, they often think of big things, houses, cars, companies, or piles of money. But the truth is, assets come in many forms, and not all of them are visible. Some assets live in your bank account, and some live inside your mind. To build lasting wealth, you must first understand the different types of assets and how they work together to create freedom. Let's start with the most important asset of all, you. Before you can own anything valuable, you must become valuable. Your skills, knowledge, mindset, and habits are your first assets. They're what allow you to create everything else. Without them, money slips away quickly. You could give a millionaire's bank account to someone with no discipline, and it would be empty in a year. But give that same money to someone with a strong mindset and financial understanding, and it would grow. That's why personal growth is the foundation of wealth. The second type of asset is intellectual assets. These are things you create with your mind: books, music, designs, inventions, courses, and even your ideas. Once created, they can keep earning for years. The beautiful part is, they don't require you to be there every day. You create them once, and they continue to produce income long after the work is done. That's why knowledge-based assets are some of the most powerful in today's world. You can turn what you know into something that pays you forever. Think about an author who writes a book. The writing takes time and effort, but once the book is published, it can sell for years without the author lifting another finger. Or think about a musician whose song streams every day around the world, earning royalties while they sleep. That's the power of intellectual assets. They let your ideas make money, not just your labor. The third type of asset is business assets. A business is one of the strongest wealth creation tools on earth because it multiplies value. When you own a business, you don't trade time for money. You build systems that make money for you. A good business is an asset machine. It can employ people, create products, and generate cash flow while you're not there. At first, you may have to work hard to build it, but if done right, it becomes self-sustaining. That's how people create financial freedom. They use time and effort once to build something that keeps running forever. Even a small online business or a simple service can become a long-term asset if built wisely. The key is to focus on systems, not just sales. Systems are what make a business last. The fourth type is financial assets. These are investments like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and dividends that grow over time. Financial assets are money that works for you instead of sitting still. Every dollar you invest wisely becomes an employee. It goes out into the world to make more money and comes back to you with profit. That's how the rich multiply wealth. They don't just save, they invest. Saving money is important for security, but investing is what creates growth. A dollar sitting in a bank account slowly loses value because of inflation, but that same dollar in an investment can grow into 10 or 100 over time. That's why wealthy people study how to invest. They understand that time is the most powerful multiplier. The next type of asset is real estate. Property has always been one of the oldest and strongest forms of wealth. Land and buildings have value because people always need places to live, work, and create. Real estate can pay you through rent, appreciation, or both. It's a physical asset that grows in value as time passes. That's why many millionaires keep a part of their wealth in property. It's stable, reliable, and often increases in worth while you sleep. But you don't need millions to start. Many successful investors began small, renting out a single room, a small apartment, or even buying land piece by piece. The goal isn't to start big, it's to start. Every piece of property you own that brings in income becomes another stream of wealth working for you. Another often overlooked category is digital assets. We live in a digital age, and that means opportunities exist beyond the physical world. Websites, YouTube channels, apps, online courses, ebooks, and social media pages. These are digital assets that can produce income around the clock. Once built, they keep earning as long as people keep using or viewing them. The best part? Digital assets don't need physical space or inventory. You can build them with creativity, consistency, and a computer. That's why the internet has created so many self-made millionaires. They understood that digital assets scale faster than almost anything else. While traditional assets grow slowly, digital ones can grow exponentially. There's also relational assets, your network, reputation, and relationships. This may not sound like wealth, but it's one of the most valuable assets you can have. Every opportunity, partnership, and deal comes through people. The stronger your relationships, the more doors open. One conversation can lead to an opportunity that changes your life forever. Your network is your net worth. That doesn't mean using people. It means building trust, helping others, and creating real value in every connection. People trust and invest in those who bring positive energy and reliability. That's why successful people focus not just on money, but on relationships. They know that one strong relationship can be more valuable than years of effort. Another type of asset is time. Yes, time itself can be an asset when used wisely. When you waste time, you lose opportunities forever. But when you invest time in learning, creating, or connecting, it pays back more than any currency. Time is the one asset that everyone has equally, yet most people misuse it. The wealthy treat time like gold. They guard it, manage it, and invest it carefully. They understand that time used well creates everything else. But there's one more kind of asset that people rarely think about: reputation. Your reputation is your silent currency. It travels faster than you do. It determines how people see you, trust you, and want to work with you. When you keep your word, deliver value, and stay consistent, your reputation becomes an asset that opens opportunities effortlessly. When people trust you, they invest in you. Now, knowing all these types of assets is powerful, but building them is where transformation happens. The key is to start with what you already have. You might not have money yet, but you have skills. You might not have land, but you have ideas. You might not own a company, but you can build one. You don't have to wait to start creating assets. You can begin with what's in your hands right now. Think about the people who built great wealth. They started with one small thing and kept building. A writer turned words into wealth. A teacher turned knowledge into income. A designer turned creativity into business. Every story of wealth begins with someone using what they already had in a smarter way. Once you begin to build one type of asset, others start to follow naturally. Your skills help you create intellectual assets. Those assets bring in money that you can invest in financial assets. Those investments create income you can use to buy real estate or start a business. Over time, your asset network grows like branches of a tree. Each one supports the other. That's how wealth compounds, not by chance, but by design. The secret is not to chase too many things at once. Focus on one type of asset first. Master it. Let it grow. Once it starts producing results, use that income to build the next one. For example, if you start with digital assets like a YouTube channel or a small online course, the money from that can later be invested into financial or real estate assets. That's how the wealthy build layer by layer. Every strong wealth builder knows that assets don't just bring money, they bring peace. Each one adds another layer of security and freedom. The more assets you build, the less you have to worry about losing one source of income. You start to live differently. You sleep better. You stop fearing bills or uncertainty because you've built systems that protect you. Understanding the types of assets also helps you avoid mistakes. Many people buy liabilities, thinking they're assets. They buy expensive cars, phones, or clothes that lose value instantly. They think ownership means wealth, but ownership without income is just a burden. Wealthy people know better. They spend less on things that fade and more on things that grow. The more you study assets, the more you see them everywhere. A song is an asset. A patent is an asset. A loyal audience is an asset. Even your health is an asset because it allows you to work, think, and create. Every part of your life can become an asset if you treat it with care. Wealth is not about luck. It's about layers. You build one layer at a time, slowly and smartly, until one day your assets are working harder than you ever did. That's when money stops being something you chase and becomes something that follows you. Understanding the types of assets is like learning a new language, the language of freedom. Once you speak it, you can build anything. You stop worrying about jobs or paychecks because you're too busy building wealth that lasts forever. Every great fortune starts with this understanding. The people who become financially free are not always the most talented or lucky. They're simply the ones who learn the language of assets and use it every day. You can do the same, because wealth isn't just for the few. It's for anyone willing to build it, patiently and wisely, one asset at a time. Chapter 5. How the rich think about money. The biggest difference between the rich and everyone else isn't how much they earn, it's how they think. The rich don't see money the way most people do. For most people, money is something they use to survive. For the rich, it's something they use to grow. It's not about having more, it's about making what they have work harder. Once you understand how they think, you can start thinking like them. No matter how much money you have right now, most people see money as something they earn and spend. They work hard, get paid, and then spend it all on things they believe will make them happy. But the rich see money as a tool. They don't just spend it. They use it to create more money. Every dollar they have is like a little employee that goes out and works for them. And when those dollars bring back more dollars, that's called cash flow. That's how wealth multiplies. The rich know that money can buy freedom. Not just things. It can buy time, security, and peace of mind. They don't spend money to look rich, they use it to stay free. They live below their means so they can invest above their income. They understand that if you always spend everything you earn, you'll always stay stuck. But if you learn to keep some, invest some, and build with it, you'll eventually reach a point where your money works harder than you ever could. The poor and middle class often chase comfort. They want to feel good right now. They buy things to show success instead of building it. But the rich delay comfort. They invest first, enjoy later. They know that small sacrifices today create big rewards tomorrow. That's why you'll often find that the richest people don't look rich at all in the beginning. They're busy building, not showing. They wear simple clothes, drive old cars, and live quietly while their assets grow in the background. There's also a big mental difference in how they see risk. Most people see risk as something to fear. They think investing is dangerous. They say things like, "What if I lose money?" But the rich think differently. They ask, what if I miss the chance to grow? They know that doing nothing is often the biggest risk of all. Inflation, lost opportunities, and wasted time all eat away at wealth faster than mistakes ever could. The rich don't take wild risks. They take calculated ones. They learn before they leap. Another thing that separates the rich is their focus on cash flow, not just income. Most people think being rich means earning a big salary, but a big salary means nothing if your expenses are even bigger. The rich focus on building systems that produce money automatically. They want to wake up and know that their assets are paying them, whether they work that day or not. They measure success by how long they could live comfortably if they stopped working today. The rich also think long-term. They're patient. They plant financial seeds and wait for them to grow. They don't look for overnight success. They look for lasting wealth. That's why they study trends, economies, and industries before everyone else. They prepare for opportunities years in advance. Most people think in weeks. The rich think in decades. That's how they stay ahead. When most people get money, they think of how to spend it. When rich people get money, they think of how to multiply it. That simple change in thinking makes all the difference. They divide money into categories, some for security, some for growth, some for learning, and some for giving. They understand that money grows when it's managed with purpose. Every dollar has a job. None of it is wasted. Another key mindset of the rich is how they view failure. Most people fear failure and avoid it at all costs. But the rich understand that failure is the price of experience. They know that every mistake teaches them how to make better choices. Failure doesn't stop them. It sharpens them. They see it as tuition for success. Every lesson learned through failure is an invisible asset that helps them win bigger next time. The rich also value information more than entertainment. They don't waste hours scrolling through distractions. They spend their time learning new skills, reading books, and studying successful people. They treat knowledge as currency because they know it pays the highest interest. Every piece of information they collect gives them an edge in decision-making. That's why they can turn opportunities into results faster than others. You'll notice that the rich don't chase money, they attract it. They do this by creating value. They focus on helping people, solving problems, and improving lives. When you bring value to others, money naturally flows back to you. The richer your impact, the greater your income. That's why you'll find that many wealthy people aren't obsessed with money. They're obsessed with creating. The money is just the reward for their creativity and contribution. Another powerful mindset the rich have is understanding leverage. Leverage means using resources, people, time, or tools to achieve more than you could alone. The rich don't try to do everything by themselves. They delegate, automate, and invest. They use other people's time, skills, and money to build bigger systems. That's how they grow faster. They know that their personal effort alone will never make them truly free. They build networks, not just bank accounts. The rich also treat money like energy. It flows. They keep it moving. They invest, reinvest, and expand. They don't let it sit idle because idle money dies. They understand that every dollar should be working somewhere, earning, building, or protecting. When money moves, it multiplies. When it stops, it shrinks. There's also a quiet confidence in how the rich handle money. They don't panic during downturns. When markets fall, they don't run. They prepare. They buy when others are afraid because they understand that fear creates opportunity. History has shown that every financial crisis has created more millionaires than any boom ever did. The rich think differently because they stay calm while others lose control. Another key idea is that rich people never stop being students. They know that money changes with time, so they keep learning. They study new industries, new technologies, and new ways of building wealth. They adapt faster than others because they stay curious. That curiosity keeps them ahead. But perhaps the biggest secret of how the rich think is that they understand the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Being rich means having money. Being wealthy means having time. You can be rich and still be trapped in your business or job, but when you're wealthy, you have freedom. You can choose how to spend your days. The rich don't want money just for comfort. They want money for control over their life. They also give more than they take. This might sound strange, but giving is part of their wealth cycle. They donate, help others, and support causes. They understand that giving doesn't make you poorer, it keeps the flow of abundance alive. When you give, you show that you believe in abundance, not scarcity. And that mindset always brings more back. Wealthy people also think generationally. They don't just build for themselves, they build for their children and grandchildren. They create systems that last beyond their lifetime. They think about how to teach their families, protect their assets, and grow their legacy. That's why wealth stays in some families for generations. It's not just money that's passed down, but wisdom. So, how can you start thinking like the rich even if you're not there yet? Start by asking better questions. Instead of asking, how can I make more money? Ask, how can I make money work for me? Instead of saying, I can't afford this, ask, how can I afford this? The mind looks for answers to the questions it's given. The rich ask empowering questions that lead to creative solutions. Another shift is to stop thinking in limits. Most people see money as something scarce, something that runs out. The rich see it as something abundant, something that circulates. That's why they don't fear losing money. They know they can create more. Their confidence doesn't come from what's in their bank. It comes from what's in their mind. The rich also focus on ownership. They'd rather own something that grows than rent something that fades. They understand that ownership equals control, and control equals freedom. That's why they own assets, businesses, properties, investments, while others rent or borrow them. Ownership builds stability that no salary can replace. But here's what makes their thinking truly powerful. They see wealth as a mindset, not a destination. They know that if they lost everything today, they could rebuild it, because the skills, habits, and mindset that created it are still inside them. Real wealth isn't just in your bank account, it's in your brain. When you begin to think this way, everything changes. You stop chasing money and start attracting it. You stop spending without purpose and start building with intention. You stop seeing limits and start seeing opportunities. The rich aren't superhuman, they've just mastered a way of thinking that you can learn too. Once you do, you'll realize that money isn't a mystery. It's a tool, a mirror, and a reflection of your mindset. Change your thinking and you'll change your wealth. Because in the end, wealth doesn't start in your wallet, it starts in your mind. Chapter 6. Turning income into assets. Most people work for money, but they never make their money work for them. They earn, they spend, and then they start again next month. It's a cycle that never ends. They call it normal life, but if you want to build wealth, you have to break that cycle. The way to do that is by turning income into assets. That means using the money you earn to build something that keeps paying you long after you stop working. The truth is, everyone gets income, but not everyone turns it into wealth. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who get ahead is what they do after they get paid. The poor spend first and save later. The middle class saves what's left after spending. The rich invest first and spend what's left after investing. That one small change makes a huge difference over time. When you get your income, you have a choice. You can use it to buy comfort today or freedom tomorrow. The rich choose freedom. They understand that every dollar they earn has a job. Some dollars pay bills, but others build the future. Those are the dollars you must protect, because when those dollars start working for you, they bring back more dollars and those bring even more. That's how the cycle of wealth begins. The first step to turning income into assets is awareness. You have to know where your money goes. Most people don't. They earn money and it disappears within days. Bills, habits, entertainment. It all adds up. But when you track your income and expenses, you start seeing patterns. You realize how much is wasted. That awareness gives you control. You can't build assets with money you can't find. Once you know where your money goes, you can redirect it. The key is to pay yourself first. Before paying bills or buying things, set aside a portion of your income for investment. Even if it's small at first, it's the habit that matters. That small part will grow over time. Paying yourself first sends a message to your brain that your future is important. It builds the habit of wealth creation. When you pay yourself first, that money should never sit idle. It should go into something that builds, that could be a savings account, that leads to an investment, a skill course that increases your earning power, or a business idea that grows with time. The goal is to use your income to build something that continues to pay you, not something that fades. Turning income into assets also requires discipline. You'll have to say no to instant pleasure sometimes. Maybe you skip a new gadget or an unnecessary trip. But every time you say no to a short-term desire, you say yes to a long-term reward. The money you save from one small decision today can become something that pays you every month for years. That's real power. You don't need a huge income to start building assets. You just need consistency. Even a small amount invested regularly grows through time and compounding. Compounding is when your money earns money, and that new money earns even more. Over time, it creates exponential growth. It's slow at first, but unstoppable later. That's why patience is the most underrated tool in wealth creation. Imagine this. You start by investing just $100 every month. That doesn't sound like much. But if that money grows at a steady rate, in 10 or 20 years, it becomes something much bigger. The secret is not the amount, it's the habit. The person who invests small but consistent always beats the person who invests big but rarely. Turning income into assets also means separating wants from needs. Wants are endless, needs are simple. The poor confuse the two and spend on wants first. The rich understand the difference and focus on what truly adds value. Every time you choose wisely, you move closer to freedom. It's also important to understand that not all investments are the same. Some grow faster but carry more risk. Others grow slowly but safely. The key is balance. Start small, learn, and grow as your confidence increases. Don't invest in things you don't understand. Knowledge is your best protection. The more you learn, the smarter your choices become. Another way to turn income into assets is by investing in yourself. That means using part of your money to gain new skills, knowledge, or experiences that increase your value. When you invest in your brain, your income automatically increases. Every new skill you master creates more opportunities to earn and build. Education doesn't end after school. It begins when you decide to grow. Many people think investing means only putting money into stocks or real estate, but the first and best investment is always you. You are the source of your income. If you improve the source, everything else improves. A smarter, more skilled version of you can create more assets than any market ever could. Another thing the rich do is turn their active income into passive income. Active income is what you earn by working. Passive income is what you earn without working. The goal is to slowly shift from active to passive. That doesn't mean you stop working. It means your work creates systems that keep earning even when you rest. For example, you might start by using your job income to buy a rental property, start a side business, or invest in dividend-paying stocks. Over time, those assets begin to generate their own cash flow. One day, those payments may cover your bills entirely. That's when you become free. You're no longer trading hours for money. You've built a machine that pays you. The rich also understand timing. They know when to save, when to invest, and when to hold. They don't rush into every opportunity. They wait for the right one. They understand that patience doesn't mean doing nothing. It means preparing. They study, they watch trends, and when the right moment comes, they act decisively. That's how they make big moves that others miss. If you want to turn income into assets, you must also avoid lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation happens when your expenses grow as your income grows. You get a raise, and instead of investing it, you upgrade your car, your phone, or your home. Suddenly, you're earning more but saving the same. That's how people stay stuck, no matter how much they earn. The rich do the opposite. They increase their income, but they keep their lifestyle simple. They use the difference to buy assets. One of the best ways to protect your income and grow it into assets is to automate your savings. Set up automatic transfers so that a portion of your income goes straight into an investment account every month. When you automate it, you remove emotion from the process. You won't have to rely on willpower. It just happens. Over time, that simple system builds serious wealth. Another part of this process is avoiding bad debt. Not all debt is equal. Debt that pays for things that lose value is bad. Debt that builds things that make money is good. Borrowing for luxury keeps you poor. Borrowing for assets can make you rich. The rich use debt strategically. They borrow to buy things that bring in income, not things that drain it. It's also important to remember that your goal is not just to make money. It's to keep and grow it. Making money is step one. Keeping it through smart management is step two. Growing it through assets is step three. Many people can do step one, but very few reach step three. That's why most stay trapped in the same financial level their whole life. When you start turning income into assets, you'll notice a shift in your mindset. You'll stop thinking about spending and start thinking about building. Every time you get paid, you'll ask, how can I make this money work for me? That's how wealthy people think. They see every dollar as a tool, not a toy. You'll also realize that the joy of building assets lasts longer than the joy of buying things. A new phone gives you happiness for a week, but an asset that pays you monthly gives you peace for a lifetime. Every investment becomes a reminder that you made a smart decision. Every new stream of income becomes a reward for your patience. The process of turning income into assets takes time, but it's worth it. At first, you might not see much change. Your balance might grow slowly. But one day, you'll notice that your money has started to grow by itself. That's the moment everything changes. That's the moment you realize you're no longer working just to survive. You're working to multiply. When you reach that point, life feels lighter. Bills don't stress you out anymore because you know your assets are paying them. You don't fear losing your job because you have other income streams. You stop living in survival mode and start living with confidence. This is what financial freedom feels like. It's not about luxury. It's about control. It's about knowing that your life isn't dependent on one paycheck. It's about waking up every day knowing that your past efforts are still working for you. Turning income into assets is not a one-time action. It's a lifestyle. It's a commitment to think long-term, act wisely, and stay patient. Every month you do it, you move one step closer to freedom. Every asset you build is a piece of your independence, and one day you'll look back and realize that the money you once earned through effort has built a world that earns for you. That's the power of turning income into assets. That's the real path to wealth that lasts forever. Chapter 7. Building multiple streams of income. The average person has only one source of income. They rely on a job. When that job stops, the income stops too. That's why so many people live in fear. Fear of losing their job, fear of bills, fear of the unknown. But wealthy people live differently. They don't depend on one stream of income. They build many. When one slows down, the others keep flowing. That's how they stay free, calm, and in control. Building multiple streams of income doesn't happen overnight. It's something you build slowly, with intention and patience. But once it's done, it changes everything. Each stream you create adds another layer of security. Each one brings you closer to the life where money is no longer your biggest worry. Think of income streams like rivers flowing into a lake. The more rivers you have, the stronger and deeper your lake becomes. If one river dries up, the others keep it full. That's how wealth works. The rich don't rely on luck or a single paycheck. They build systems that feed them from different directions. The first step is understanding that your job is just one source, not the only one. Your salary can help you start, but it shouldn't be your end goal. Your goal is to use your active income to build passive ones. You use your effort today to create something that will pay you tomorrow. That's the real formula for financial independence. You might think that I don't have time for multiple incomes. The truth is, you don't need to start many things at once. You start with one, build it strong, and then move to the next. Wealth isn't built by rushing. It's built by repeating smart steps. One steady stream is better than 10 weak ones. Focus. Build, grow, repeat. Let's imagine a simple example. You have your main job, and from that income, you save a little every month. You use that savings to buy a small stock investment. That's your second stream. Over time, you start a small online project, maybe a digital product or service. That becomes your third stream. Later, you might rent out a property or buy a small piece of land. That's another. Bit by bit, you build streams that keep flowing while you live your life. The most powerful thing about multiple income streams is that they give you freedom of choice. When you depend on only one income, you often feel trapped. You have to say yes to things you don't like, because you can't afford to say no. But when you have several incomes, you can make choices based on peace, not pressure. You can walk away from stress because your money isn't tied to one source. The rich don't chase more work, they chase smarter work. Each new income stream they create doesn't take more time, it creates more leverage. They build things that can grow on their own. For example, a business owner might create a product once and sell it thousands of times. A real estate investor might buy one property that keeps paying rent for years. A creator might make one video or book that earns for life. The work happens once, but the income repeats. Building multiple streams of income also protects you from uncertainty. The world changes fast. Jobs disappear, markets shift, technology evolves. Having one income is like walking on one leg. It's risky, but when you have multiple streams, you stay balanced. Even if one slows down, the others keep you steady. Another reason to build multiple streams is that it allows your money to grow faster. Each stream you build feeds the next one. You can use profits from one asset to build another. That's how compounding works, not just with money but with effort. The more you build, the easier it becomes to build more. Creating multiple incomes doesn't mean you need to start 10 businesses. It means you diversify. You mix active and passive sources. Active income is what you work for. Passive income is what works for you. The goal is to slowly shift the balance. As time goes on, your passive income should grow while your active income becomes optional. At the beginning, most of your income will be active. That's normal. But as you keep building assets, the balance changes. One day, your passive income covers all your expenses. That's the moment when you're truly free. You can still work, but now it's a choice, not a necessity. There's also a mental benefit to having multiple income streams. It builds confidence. You stop fearing the future because you know you've built safety nets. You stop feeling helpless because you've proven to yourself that you can create. That confidence changes the way you think about everything. It gives you peace of mind that money alone can't buy. To build multiple streams, start with what you know. Use your skills and interests. If you're good at teaching, create a course. If you're creative, design something digital. If you're good with numbers, learn investing. You don't have to copy what others are doing. Your best opportunity is usually hiding inside what you already love or understand. The next step is to stay consistent. Most people start but never finish. They expect quick results and give up when it doesn't happen. But income streams take time to build. It's like planting trees. You don't get fruit the next day, but once the tree grows, it gives for years. The earlier you start planting, the sooner you'll enjoy the shade. Another key idea is to reinvest your profits. When your second income starts earning, don't rush to spend it. Use it to build a third one. When that grows, use it to build the fourth. This is how wealth compounds. Every new stream adds momentum. Before you know it, your money is multiplying faster than you ever imagined. The rich also protect their income streams carefully. They don't take unnecessary risks. They study markets, trends, and people before investing. They diversify smartly, not randomly. They know that one bad move can hurt, but a balanced plan keeps everything safe. That's why financial education never stops. The more you learn, the safer your streams become. Having multiple streams doesn't just protect your finances, it transforms your life. You start thinking differently about time. Instead of seeing time as something to spend, you see it as something to invest. Every hour you use to build an asset today becomes a gift to your future self. You start valuing creation over consumption. At some point, something beautiful happens. Your money starts making more money than your effort does. You wake up and realize that your investments, businesses, or digital assets are generating income while you sleep. That's when you understand what freedom truly feels like. You're not chasing money anymore, it's chasing you. One of the best parts of having multiple income streams is peace of mind. You no longer live in constant stress about bills or emergencies. You can plan your life calmly. You can take breaks, travel, or spend time with family without worrying about what's next. You have control over your time and your choices. Building multiple streams also changes how you see the world. You start recognizing opportunities everywhere. You realize that every skill, every connection, and every piece of knowledge can become a source of income. You stop waiting for permission to succeed. You start creating your own door. But to build multiple income streams, you must also protect your focus. Don't jump into everything you see. Choose one idea, commit, and master it before starting another. Success multiplies when it's built on a strong foundation. And never forget this, multiple income streams aren't about greed. They're about freedom. They're about having the power to live on your own terms, to help others, and to build something that lasts. They give you stability in an unstable world. At the end of the day, money is just a tool. The goal isn't to have more of it. It's to use it to design a life you love. When you have multiple income streams, you gain that power. You stop living by chance and start living by choice. Every stream you build brings you closer to independence. Every asset you create moves you one step away from fear. And one day, you'll look around and realize you've built a life where your money works harder than you ever did. That's when you'll know you didn't just earn income, you built wealth. Chapter 8. The Power of Compound Growth. Wealth is not built by chance. It's built by small, consistent actions that grow quietly over time. The rich understand something most people ignore: the secret of compounding. Compounding is what happens when your effort, money, or knowledge keeps growing on top of itself, like layers that never stop building. It's slow in the beginning, but over time, it becomes unstoppable. Think of a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's small, but as it rolls, it picks up more snow, becomes heavier, and rolls faster. That's how compounding works. The longer it rolls, the more powerful it becomes. Most people never see this power because they quit before the snowball grows big. The wealthy stay patient. They let time do the work. Compounding doesn't just happen with money. It happens with habits, skills, and decisions. Every small step you take today adds to the steps you took yesterday. Every bit of progress adds up, even when it feels invisible. That's why patience is one of the strongest financial tools you can ever have. When it comes to money, compounding is like magic. You invest a small amount, it grows a little, and then that growth starts growing too. Over time, the results become exponential. The first few years feel slow, but then it suddenly takes off. That's why the wealthy never rush the process. They understand that time is their best friend. Most people never experience compounding because they interrupt it. They pull out investments too early. They stop learning too soon. They give up before the reward appears. The secret to compounding is not perfection, it's consistency. You don't have to be the smartest person. You just have to keep showing up, again and again. When you invest money, even small amounts, and leave it to grow, it starts creating more income without your help. That's how rich people get richer. Not because they work more, but because their money works harder than they do. It's like planting a tree and letting it grow instead of cutting it down for quick firewood. Imagine this. You plant a seed today, and in a few years, it becomes a tree that gives fruit every season. Now imagine you plant one seed every month. After a few years, you have an entire garden feeding you. That's what compounding does. It multiplies your small efforts into something that lasts forever. The best part, you don't need a lot to start. Even small investments can grow huge when given enough time. Most people overestimate what they can do in a month, but underestimate what they can do in a decade. Compounding rewards the patient. It punishes the impatient. When you start investing or building assets, the first few years might feel boring. You'll see little progress, and it'll seem like nothing's happening. But under the surface, something powerful is growing. The roots are forming. The foundation is being built. Then one day, everything changes at once. That's how compound growth works. Slowly, then suddenly. This is true not just for money, but for skills too. When you learn something every day, even for 10 minutes, you become a different person in a year. Each piece of knowledge builds on the last. That's mental compounding. It's how ordinary people become experts, leaders, and creators. They just never stop learning. Your relationships compound too. The more you build trust, the stronger your network grows. The people you help today may return with bigger opportunities tomorrow. Small acts of kindness, consistency, and reliability create long-term goodwill. Over time, that network becomes an asset money can't buy. Habits compound as well. A small positive habit repeated daily changes your life. Whether it's saving money, reading, or working on a project, the results may look small at first, but they multiply. Each day's effort builds momentum. That's how habits turn into transformation. The problem is, most people are addicted to fast results. They want success today, money tomorrow, and comfort instantly. But true growth takes time. The rich understand this deeply. They plant seeds and wait. They don't get distracted by temporary ups and downs. They stay focused on the bigger picture. That's why they win. The power of compounding also depends on protecting your growth. It's not just about how much you earn, but how much you keep growing. If you break the cycle by spending your returns or losing focus, you stop the snowball from rolling. Protect your assets, reinvest your gains, and keep building momentum. Think about this. Every time you reinvest your earnings instead of spending them, you're feeding your future. You're giving your money another chance to multiply. That's what the wealthy do. They don't celebrate small wins by spending. They celebrate by reinvesting. They know that the goal is not to look rich, but to stay rich. Let's talk about time, because time is the heart of compounding. The earlier you start, the more powerful your growth becomes. Even small, consistent action beats big, inconsistent effort. If you start late, you have to work harder to catch up. That's why every day counts. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is now. Compounding also teaches you humility. You can't force it. You can't rush it. You can only respect it. The results belong to those who stay committed. Every successful investor, creator, or business owner has stories of years when nothing seemed to happen, but they kept going because they knew that every quiet year was building a loud one. One of the biggest mistakes people make is giving up too soon. They start something, get excited, but stop when progress slows down. What they don't realize is that the real growth was just about to begin. Compounding rewards the ones who stay in the game. The longer you stay, the bigger the reward becomes. Another mistake is not reinvesting profits. Some people take out money the moment they see returns. They stop the growth before it matures. But the rich do the opposite. They let their profits grow more profits. They understand that compounding is not a one-time event. It's a continuous process. The same rule applies to learning. Every time you read, study, or gain a new skill, that knowledge stays with you forever. When you combine one skill with another, your value grows exponentially. That's mental compounding. A person who learns communication and business can lead others. A person who learns finance and creativity can build brands. Each new skill adds power to the last one. Compounding also changes how you see effort. You stop asking, how long will it take, and start asking, how far can it grow? You stop chasing shortcuts. You start trusting the process. That mindset shift is what separates success from struggle. The wealthy often say, "Don't work for money, let money work for you." But what they really mean is, let compounding work for you. Let time, patience, and discipline build what you started. The earlier you understand this, the sooner you'll escape the cycle of constant effort. There's a quiet beauty in compounding. It doesn't need noise, praise, or attention. It just keeps growing, silently and steadily. While others are showing off their temporary wins, you're building something permanent. When your results finally show, people will call you lucky, but it's not luck. It's compounding doing its work. To harness this power, you need consistency. That means sticking with your plan, even when it's boring. It means saving even when it's hard. It means learning when others are scrolling. Small things, repeated daily, become miracles over time. That's how you build wealth that doesn't vanish. Compounding also gives you freedom from pressure. You don't need big wins to change your life. You just need steady wins. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going. Progress beats perfection every time. And remember, compounding doesn't care who you are or where you start. It only cares how long you stay consistent. It rewards patience and punishes rush. It gives more to those who respect time. The real secret of the rich is not that they have more money. It's that they started early and stayed consistent. They trusted the process. They let time multiply their efforts. They didn't try to look successful. They quietly built it. You can do the same. You don't need luck or genius. You just need to start and keep going. Let your actions today feed your growth tomorrow. Let your patience build your freedom. Because compounding is not just a financial strategy, it's a life philosophy. Every seed you plant today, whether it's saving $1, learning a skill, or building a habit, will grow into something greater. You might not see it now, but it's happening. Stay patient, keep planting, keep watering, and one day you'll look back and realize that your small, quiet efforts created a life bigger than you ever imagined. That's the magic of compound growth. Slow, silent, but unstoppable. Chapter 9. Mastering Financial Discipline. Building wealth isn't about luck or big paychecks. It's about discipline. Discipline is the bridge between what you want and what you get. It's what turns dreams into reality and income into assets. You can have the best ideas, the biggest goals, and the smartest plans. But without financial discipline, none of it lasts. Financial discipline means controlling your money instead of letting money control you. It's about making choices today that your future self will thank you for. Most people fail not because they don't earn enough, but because they don't manage what they earn. They let habits, emotions, and impulses rule their decisions. Discipline changes that. It gives you control, clarity, and power. Discipline starts with awareness. You must know where your money goes. Every dollar has a story. If you don't tell it where to go, it disappears. The first step to financial discipline is tracking. Write down what you earn and where you spend. You'll be surprised at how much leaks out through small, unnoticed expenses. A few dollars here, a few coffees there, it all adds up. Awareness is power because you can't improve what you don't measure. The next step is setting clear financial goals. Without goals, discipline feels like punishment. But when you have a purpose, every sacrifice feels worth it. Maybe you want to build an asset, buy a property, start a business, or retire early. Whatever your goal is, make it real. Picture it every day. Let it guide your decisions. When you know your why, saying no to unnecessary spending becomes easier. Discipline also means respecting time. Wealth grows slowly, not instantly. You can't plant today and harvest tomorrow. You must stay patient through the process. The people who succeed financially are not always the smartest. They're the most consistently show up every day, doing small, smart things that compound over time. It's easy to be disciplined when you're motivated, but motivation fades. Real discipline shows up when you don't feel like it, when you choose to save instead of spend, when you study instead of scrolling, when you build instead of complain. Every time you do the right thing, even when it's hard, you strengthen your financial muscles. Discipline also means avoiding emotional decisions. Money and emotion don't mix well. Fear, greed, or excitement can destroy years of progress. People lose fortunes by following emotions instead of logic. They buy when the market is high because everyone else is excited, and they sell when it's low because they panic. The rich do the opposite. They stay calm. They trust their plan. They don't let short-term feelings ruin long-term goals. One of the hardest parts of financial discipline is delayed gratification. It means waiting for rewards instead of taking them now. It's saying, I'll skip this today so I can have more tomorrow. That's not easy in a world that celebrates instant everything, but it's the foundation of wealth. Every dollar you delay spending becomes a seed for future growth. Every short-term no becomes a long-term yes. Financial discipline also involves creating systems. Systems make discipline easier because they remove emotion. Automate your savings. Set up recurring investments. When you make wealth building automatic, you don't have to rely on willpower. It just happens. The rich don't depend on feelings. They build systems that protect them from bad decisions. Budgeting is another form of discipline. A budget isn't a cage, it's a plan. It tells your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. A good budget balances living and growing. You don't have to cut all joy from your life. You just need balance. Spend on things that add value, not on things that disappear overnight. Discipline is also about saying no. No to unnecessary purchases. No to bad habits. No to people who drain your energy and money. Every no protects your future. Every yes should move you closer to your goals. The rich are not stingy. They're selective. They understand that every choice has a cost. It's easy to spend. It takes strength to save. But saving alone isn't enough. You must also invest wisely. Discipline in investing means not chasing quick profits. It means staying steady, learning the market, and letting your money grow over time. The rich don't gamble, they plan. They think in decades, not days. Another part of financial discipline is learning to live below your means. That doesn't mean living poorly. It means living smart. You don't need to impress anyone. Every dollar you save and invest is a brick in your freedom wall. Many people look rich, but are deeply in debt. The truly wealthy live quietly, while their assets grow loudly. Self-control is a skill. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Start small. Skip one unnecessary purchase. Save an extra 5%. Each time you do it, you build confidence. Over time, you'll notice that your mindset changes. You'll stop seeing saving as sacrifice and start seeing it as empowerment. Financial discipline also means protecting what you've built. Don't take careless risks. Don't let greed push you into traps that promise fast money. Wealth that comes fast usually leaves fast. Build slow, build steady, and protect your base. Be careful with debt. Debt can be a tool or a trap. Use it only when it helps build assets. If debt makes money for you, it's working for you. If it only buys comfort, it's working against you. The disciplined mind knows the difference. Your environment matters too. If you surround yourself with people who spend without thinking, you'll start doing the same. If you spend time with people who talk about investing, saving, and building, you'll grow faster. Discipline is easier when you're around others who live it. You'll also need emotional discipline when things don't go your way. Not every plan will work perfectly. Investments will go up and down. Businesses may fail, but giving up is never an option. The disciplined keep learning, adapting, and rebuilding. Failure isn't the end. It's part of the training. Financial discipline is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. You'll make mistakes. Everyone does. But as long as you keep coming back to your plan, you'll win. The goal isn't to never fall, it's to never stay down. Over time, discipline becomes your freedom. You no longer feel controlled by bills, desires, or fear. You make decisions calmly. You sleep peacefully, knowing you're in control. You realize that money isn't about showing off. It's about stability. When you master financial discipline, you stop chasing money and start guiding it. You stop reacting and start creating. Every decision becomes a step toward independence. You no longer depend on luck, you depend on logic. And here's the truth. Wealth isn't built in big moments. It's built in small, daily choices. Every time you save instead of spend, every time you invest instead of waste, every time you learn instead of complain, you're building wealth. Quietly, consistently, powerfully. Financial discipline may not look exciting, but it's the most powerful superpower in wealth creation. It's what keeps you moving when motivation fades. It's what turns dreams into assets and paychecks into freedom. In the end, discipline doesn't take away your freedom. It gives it to you. Because when you control your money, you control your life. And that's what true wealth feels like. Calm, confident, and forever growing. Chapter 10. Building a wealth mindset for life. Wealth isn't just about money. It's a way of thinking, a way of living, and a way of seeing the world. The people who stay wealthy are not the ones who made money once. They're the ones who built a mindset that keeps creating wealth again and again. The truth is, if you give a rich mindset to a poor person, they will become wealthy. But if you give a poor mindset to a rich person, they will lose it all. The foundation of lasting wealth is mental, not financial. A wealth mindset begins with belief. You have to believe that you can create wealth, no matter where you start. Most people stop themselves before they even try. They think they're too late, too young, too poor, or too unlucky. But the truth is, wealth doesn't care about your background. It cares about your habits. It cares about how you think, act, and respond to life. A person with a wealth mindset doesn't ask, "Can I do this?" They ask, "How can I do this?" They look for solutions, not excuses. They take responsibility for their situation instead of blaming others. They know that no one is coming to save them, and that's their power, because once you realize you're the only one responsible for your financial future, you stop waiting and start building. The poor mindset focuses on problems. The wealthy mindset focuses on possibilities. When the poor see challenges, they see barriers. When the wealthy see challenges, they see chances to learn, grow, and earn. It's not that the wealthy have fewer problems, they just think differently about them. A wealth mindset also means valuing growth over comfort. You can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. Every level of wealth requires a new version of you. It demands discipline, courage, and change. Most people avoid discomfort, and that's why they stay stuck. The wealthy lean into it. They understand that short-term pain often leads to long-term peace. Another key part of the wealth mindset is gratitude. It may sound simple, but gratitude changes everything. When you're grateful, you stop feeling like you're lacking. You see what you already have and learn how to use it better. Gratitude attracts abundance because it keeps you focused on growth, not on what's missing. Wealthy people don't wait to be grateful when they're rich. They're grateful first, and that energy attracts more. A wealth mindset is also curious. It never stops learning. The rich read, listen, and observe. They know that the world changes quickly, and the only way to stay ahead is to keep learning. They see knowledge as fuel for growth. Every new idea, skill, or conversation can lead to a new opportunity. Poor thinkers believe they already know enough. Wealthy thinkers know they're always a student. The wealthy also understand that money is a mirror. It reflects your mindset. If you're careless with small amounts, you'll be careless with big amounts. If you're responsible with a little, you'll be responsible with a lot. That's why the rich say, if you can't manage $100, you'll never manage $1 million. Wealth doesn't change who you are, it reveals it. A big part of building a wealth mindset is learning to control emotions. Money and emotion don't mix well. Fear, greed, jealousy, or pride can destroy your decisions. Wealthy people practice emotional balance. They don't panic when things go wrong. They don't brag when things go right. They stay steady, focused, and calm. That's what allows them to make smart moves when others are reacting with chaos. Another important idea is detachment. The wealthy don't let money define their worth. They see money as a tool, not an identity. They use it, grow it, and manage it. But they don't worship it, because when you get emotionally attached to money, you either chase it too hard or fear losing it too much. Detachment gives freedom. It lets you make clear, confident decisions without stress. A wealth mindset also understands the difference between price and value. Poor thinkers ask, how much does it cost? Wealthy thinkers ask, what is it worth? They don't mind paying more for things that bring long-term value, like education, health, or relationships. But they avoid wasting money on short-term pleasure that adds no growth. This small difference in thinking separates consumers from creators. The rich also think in systems, not moments. They don't look for one-time wins, they look for repeatable results. They know that getting rich once isn't success, staying rich is. They focus on creating habits and structures that keep money flowing even when they're not paying attention. Another part of the wealth mindset is understanding that time is more valuable than money. You can always make more money, but you can't make more time. Wealthy people protect their time carefully. They don't waste it on gossip, drama, or distractions. They invest it in learning, creating, and connecting. That's why they seem to get more done with the same 24 hours. A wealth mindset is also generous. It knows that giving doesn't make you poor, it makes you powerful. When you give time, knowledge, or money to help others, you open the door for abundance to flow back to you. The act of giving reminds you that there's enough for everyone. It shifts your focus from scarcity to plenty. But perhaps the most important part of a wealth mindset is vision. You have to see beyond today. You must imagine the life you want and make decisions that lead there. Vision gives direction to your discipline. Without vision, you drift. With vision, every action has meaning. The wealthy write down their goals. They visualize them. They think about them every day. That constant focus keeps them moving forward even when progress feels slow. The poor say, I'll do it someday. The rich say, I'll start today. The rich don't wait for perfect timing. They create it. A wealth mindset also includes resilience. You will face setbacks. There will be losses, failures, and disappointments. But every challenge teaches you something valuable. The wealthy don't quit when things go wrong. They adapt, they learn the lesson, and move forward stronger. Resilience is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary builders. Another part of building a wealth mindset is learning to think long-term. The poor think in days, the middle class in months, and the wealthy in decades. The longer your vision, the better your decisions. You stop worrying about small setbacks and start focusing on big goals. Time becomes your ally instead of your enemy. Your circle also shapes your mindset. If you spend time with people who complain, you'll start to complain. If you spend time with people who create, you'll start to create. Energy is contagious. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you, and push you to grow. And remember, wealth doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time, quietly, through small, smart choices. Every time you learn, invest, save, and create, you're strengthening your wealth mindset. It's like working out your brain for success. The best part is, once you build this mindset, no one can take it away. You could lose your job, your business, or even all your money, but you'll never lose your ability to rebuild, because wealth isn't about what you have, it's about who you've become. When you think like a wealthy person, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. You stop chasing trends and start creating direction. You stop living in fear and start living with confidence. Building a wealth mindset isn't about being obsessed with money. It's about freedom, purpose, and control. It's about building a life that serves you instead of owning you. It's about living with intention instead of survival. So train your mind every day. Think like a builder. Act like an investor. Believe like a winner. The wealth you create in your mind will eventually show up in your life. And when it does, it won't be luck. It'll be proof that your mindset became your greatest asset. Chapter 11. Turning knowledge into wealth. Every person carries a hidden treasure. It's not gold, land, or money. It's knowledge. What you know can change your life if you learn how to use it. Most people collect knowledge, but never apply it. They learn for tests, for degrees, for fun, but not for wealth. The truth is, knowledge becomes power only when it turns into action. Think of the richest people in the world. They didn't just learn facts, they learned how to apply what they knew. They turned ideas into products, skills into services, and curiosity into creation. That's how knowledge becomes wealth, by moving from your mind into motion. You already know things that others want to learn. Maybe you understand how to manage time, how to communicate clearly, how to cook, design, write, or solve problems. The internet has made it possible to share that knowledge with the world and get paid for it. That's how people today build digital assets. They teach, guide, or create something useful that lives online forever. But before knowledge can turn into wealth, it needs clarity. You must ask yourself, what do I know deeply? What do I enjoy sharing? What problem can I help people solve? Wealth comes from service. The more people you help, the more value you create. When you create value, money naturally follows. Knowledge grows through teaching. When you share what you know, you learn more. That's why the wealthy keep learning and teaching. They understand that giving away knowledge doesn't make you poorer. It multiplies your influence. Every video, book, podcast, or course you create becomes a seed that can grow into an asset. Turning knowledge into wealth also means staying curious. The world changes fast. Skills that mattered yesterday may not matter tomorrow. The people who keep learning stay ahead. The ones who stop fall behind. That's why lifelong education is the best investment. When you keep learning, you keep earning. There are many ways to turn your knowledge into income. You can create content, start a course, write a book, or build a product based on what you know. The method doesn't matter as much as the message. If what you share helps people improve their lives, they'll pay attention, and often they'll pay money. To make your knowledge valuable, Focus on solving real problems. People don't pay for information, they pay for transformation. Your knowledge should make their life easier, their work faster, or their dreams closer. When your knowledge changes lives, it becomes priceless. At first you might feel like no one's listening. That's okay. Every creator starts with silence. But if you stay consistent, the right people will find you. The world rewards those who serve with honesty and patience. Every lesson you share, every idea you explain, builds trust. Over time, that trust becomes your brand, and your brand becomes your asset. You don't need to be an expert to teach. You just need to be one step ahead of someone else. There are millions of people who would love to learn what you already know. The key is to start sharing. The act of teaching forces you to organize your thoughts, and that clarity makes you even smarter. When you start monetizing knowledge, remember one rule: keep value first, money second. If you chase money, people feel it. If you chase value, money chases you. The best teachers, coaches, and creators focus on helping, not selling. And that's exactly why they succeed. The digital world has made it easier than ever to create wealth from wisdom. One video can reach millions. One idea can change your future. But it takes courage to start. You have to overcome doubt, fear, and perfectionism. You'll never feel fully ready. Start anyway. Progress beats perfection every time. Another part of turning knowledge into wealth is learning how to communicate it clearly. People don't value what they don't understand. Simplify your message. Speak like you're talking to a friend. Make people feel, not just think. The simpler your lessons, the more impact they have. You should also focus on building a system around your knowledge. Don't rely on one platform or one product. Diversify how your ideas reach people. Turn your knowledge into different formats: videos, blogs, books, workshops, or software. Each one becomes another stream of income that keeps growing long after you create it. When you build a knowledge-based asset, your time becomes leverage. Instead of trading hours for dollars, you trade ideas for impact. Your work continues even when you're asleep. That's the beauty of digital wealth. It works without limits. But knowledge alone isn't enough. It must be combined with discipline. Many people start projects but never finish. They consume information but don't apply it. Wealthy people learn, act, adjust, and repeat. They turn theory into practice. They don't wait for perfect plans. They move fast and learn by doing. Turning knowledge into wealth also means protecting your energy. Not everyone will support you. Some will doubt you. Some will criticize. That's okay. Don't waste energy defending yourself. Let your results speak. Every hour spent creating is more valuable than an hour spent arguing. Another important thing is reinvesting your earnings into more knowledge. When you make money from your ideas, use part of it to learn new skills. Growth never stops. The more you know, the more you can create. The more you create, the more you earn. It's a cycle that feeds itself. The world is full of opportunities for people who think and act. You don't need permission to start. You don't need degrees or titles. You just need courage and consistency. The moment you decide to use what you know to help others, you begin your wealth journey. Some people say, "But everyone already knows what I know." That's not true. No one can say it like you. No one has your story, your voice, or your experience. Your perspective is unique. And that uniqueness is what makes your knowledge valuable. The biggest obstacle between knowledge and wealth is fear. Fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But fear fades when you focus on service. If your goal is to help people, your heart will always guide you right. When you share your knowledge, you create ripples. Someone somewhere will use your words to change their life. That impact spreads further than you can imagine. That's how wealth works. Not just in money, but in meaning. The more you give, the more you grow. Knowledge is like fire. It doesn't go out when you share it. It spreads. Each person you teach can light another torch. Soon, you're not just building income, you're building influence. Turning knowledge into wealth is not a dream for a few, it's a choice for anyone. The tools are already in your hands. The internet has made it possible to reach the world from your room. The only question is, will you use it? Start small. Share what you know. Help one person, then another. Build slowly. Learn from feedback. Improve your message. With time, your knowledge will grow roots and your income will grow wings. One day, you'll look back and realize that the things you once took for granted, your lessons, your experiences, your failures, became your biggest assets. You'll see that wealth was never just about money. It was about turning your mind into a machine that never stops creating value. That's how you stay ahead. That's how you build freedom that lasts. Because when your knowledge starts paying you, you've built something no one can ever take away. Chapter 12. Living the wealth you built. There comes a point when all your work, learning, and patience begin to show their reward. You start to feel something shift, not just in your bank account, but in your mind. You realize wealth isn't about numbers anymore. It's about freedom, peace, and choice. You've built assets that pay you, and now it's time to live the life you've created. Real wealth is quiet. It's not the cars, clothes, or fancy vacations that people post online. It's waking up without stress. It's knowing you have options. It's being able to spend time with the people you love and doing the things that make you feel alive. That's the reward for years of discipline and effort. When you live off your assets, something powerful happens. Your days stop being about survival. They become about purpose. You no longer ask, how do I make money? You ask, how do I make impact? You move from earning to giving, from chasing to creating. That's when wealth truly becomes meaningful. But freedom requires balance. When people finally reach success, some lose direction. They stop growing. They forget what got them there. True wealth doesn't end when you have enough. It continues when you keep evolving. The same mindset that built your assets must now guide how you live. Remember that money is a tool, not a master. It's meant to serve you, not control you. The moment you start serving money again, you step backward. You've worked hard to gain freedom. Don't give it away chasing things that don't matter. Living the wealth you built means designing a life with intention. Ask yourself what really brings you peace. Maybe it's travel, family, art, nature, or helping others. Use your assets to support those things. Let your money serve your happiness, not your ego. It's also important to stay humble. Wealth doesn't make you better than others. It just gives you more responsibility. The more you have, the more impact you can make. Use your success to lift others. Teach, mentor, share your story. Help someone else build their first asset. When you give back, your wealth multiplies in ways that money never could. Keep learning, even when you've achieved your goals. The world keeps changing. Markets shift. Technology evolves. New ideas appear. A wealthy mind stays curious. Continue to grow your knowledge, your relationships, and your character. That's how your wealth stays alive. Another part of living wealthy is simplicity. You'll notice something interesting. The more successful you become, the less you need. You stop caring about showing off. You stop needing to prove yourself. You realize that joy doesn't come from owning more, but from needing less. Simplicity brings peace. Peace is the ultimate luxury. Protect your energy the same way you protect your assets. Don't let negativity, envy, or drama drain your time. Choose who you allow in your space. Wealth is not just financial, it's emotional and mental too. A calm mind is richer than a full wallet with stress. As your assets grow, remember the power of time. Time is the real wealth. Every system you built, every habit you formed, bought you back hours of your life. Use that time wisely. Spend it on experiences, people, and growth. Don't trade your peace for profit. Legacy is another part of living wealthy. It's not about leaving money behind. It's about leaving wisdom. Teach your children or loved ones the values that built your success. Show them how to think, not just how to spend. That's how your wealth lasts for generations. At this stage, your biggest goal is sustainability. Don't risk everything chasing more. Protect what you've built. Keep your system simple, your debts low, and your habits strong. The goal isn't to double your money every year, it's to never worry about money again. Take moments to celebrate how far you've come. Remember the days when you dreamed about this life. Every early morning, every tough decision, every sacrifice, they brought you here. Gratitude turns success into fulfillment. Without gratitude, even the richest life feels empty. And while you enjoy your success, never stop dreaming. Wealth gives you the power to start over, to try new things, to explore without fear. You can now create from love, not pressure. That's the purest kind of creation. When your choices come from freedom. As you live your wealthy life, stay aware of one truth. The journey never really ends. You're not just a person who built assets, you're a builder for life. You'll keep learning, creating, and sharing. That's what keeps your spirit alive. Your greatest asset isn't your money, your house, or your business. It's your mindset, the one that made all this possible. As long as you keep that, you'll never lose. Because even if everything disappeared, you could build it all again. So live your wealth with peace. Live it with purpose. Live it with humility. Let your life be the example that wealth built with patience, knowledge, and discipline is the kind that lasts forever. You've learned to make money work for you. You've learned to build systems, assets, and freedom. But most importantly, you've learned to believe in yourself. That belief, steady, quiet, and unshakable, is the true foundation of wealth. And as you walk forward from here, remember this: you are not chasing money anymore. You are guiding it. You are not surviving. You are thriving. You are not just building assets. You are building legacy. The kind of legacy that never fades, because it was built not from greed, but from growth. Not from noise, but from purpose. Not for the world to see, but for you to live. That is how you build assets that pay you forever.